Alrighty, 2.5 is using linear models. In this section, we're going to need a graphing calculator. So if you don't have a graphing calculator on your desk, please pause and go get a graphing calculator. So to start off with, we're going to talk about three different types of correlation. There's a positive correlation, a negative correlation, and no correlation. So a positive correlation looks like these scatter plots over here, that overall from left to right, they are increasing. Negative correlation overall left to right, they are decreasing, and no correlation is when they're all scattered and we can't tell whether it is positive or negative. The two variables are not related at all. Now, for this next example, what I would like for us to do is to plug this table into our graphing calculator, and we want to see whether this has a positive, negative, or no correlation. So what we're going to do to type these points into our calculator, we're going to click on Stats button. We're going to go to the middle column. Whoops. First off, we just need to go to the Stats column. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. So go to Stats button, and then right here we have Edit, so click Enter. We need to type in these coordinates. And so we're going to type in our X values and then our Y values. I already have these typed in. So after each one, you would click Enter. So 61, Enter, 58, Enter. And you type in all your X's and then arrow over to the right. And then type in all your Y values. Once you are done typing these in, then click Graph Clear just to get it out of that screen. And then click Stats button again. But now go to the middle column and then go down to 4 where it says linear regression. We're going to click Enter and click Enter one more time. And then notice this is y equals mx plus b. They use a and b, but that's the same thing, a linear equation. And then this is what our a is and this is what our b is, our slope and our y-intercept. So to get the best fit line, they give it to us. So when it says write the equation of the best fit line or the trend line, it would be y equals 4.15, we're just going to round to the hundreds place, x minus 117.68. So what this equation is, that's our trend line. That if we were to graph all of these coordinates and make a line through our graph through the center as much as possible, some of the points would be above and some would be below, but through the center as much as possible, this would be the equation of the line. Now this is going to be our average, so not every single point is on this line, but it will give us a trend of what to expect. So for example, let's say the temperature was 100 degrees, which is not in our table. We could plug in 100 in for our X, simplify this down, and see what our electricity bill would be. Or let's say the electricity bill was really high one month, it was $300, that we could plug that in for our Y and then solve for our X and see what the temperature would have been. Okay, now notice our slope is positive, so this one has a positive correlation. If our slope is negative, it would have a negative correlation. So let's try another one from start to end. So for this one, we are going to compare the number of hours that a student spends online the night before a test and their test scores. So let's go through and type these into our calculator. So I'll put it over here so we can see it a little bit better. So we're going to click Stats, click Enter under Edit, and then we're going to have to delete all of these points first off. So just to click on that top one, click Delete, and they'll delete them. Go to the next column, start deleting them. And we need to type in our new coordinates. So go back over to L1, and it's 0, enter 0. And I'll be quiet so you can type these in also. Make sure after each number, we're clicking Enter to go to the next one. And then we arrow over to the right, type in our test scores. Alrighty, now once we get them typed in, we're going to go to Stats, go over to Calculate, go down to Linear Regression, click Enter again, and we have our equation. So that's our trend line. So it's y equals negative 7.91x plus 98.05. Now notice this one has a negative slope, so this one we would say has a negative correlation. Now another way that you can tell if a graph is going to have a negative or a positive correlation, just look at your graph. Okay, notice that hours online overall is increasing and the test scores overall are decreasing. If your two variables are going opposite directions, one is increasing and one is decreasing, it's always going to be negative correlation. If we go back to the first example though, what a positive correlation is going to be is notice overall that our temperatures are increasing overall, and then our electricity bill overall is increasing. They're going the same direction. So if both are increasing or both are decreasing, then it's going to have a positive correlation.